Well, the first thing that comes to mind is Jack's family. Lori Bell, his wife, and all his kids and all his grandkids. And 56 years later, the folks that played with Jack are here, and there's almost a dozen of us. That's hard to believe, but we came from all corners of the United States to do that. And that is what tells me more about Jack than anything. We bought an airplane together, and I helped teach Jack to fly, but I think he taught me a little bit more than I could teach him at times. And the thing that he got into was his love of horses. With his wife Lori, she started this Starlight Racing operation, which I think transformed the horse racing in the United States and the world. He has gotten, I don't know how many, he's won Triple Crowns, and truly, if you look at what he's done in that industry, that's one thing. But what he did with football and the way that transcend him to where he is, I think it was his work ethic. It's like the great John Wooden. He said it takes 10 hands to make a basket. 10 hands to make a basket. Well, Jack was able to do that in his leadership role at Murray State. And I think that the thing that I remember most about him in football is he said, guys, he was elected captain by the team. And he says, guys, everybody come back in great shape. And they checked that the first day of practice. Rick, you may remember Ferguson had us run around the track, and Jack Wolf is not a great athlete. And but he ran further than anybody else around that cinder track at Cutchin Stadium. And he set the example with not what he said, but what he did. And I think that I'll always remember that part of Jack. Thank you.
Hello, Murray State. Hello, Murray State. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Dave. When Dave reached out to me and wanted to have somebody to introduce me, and he told me we had a time limit of 15 minutes, and I told him Bob was going to be up here. I said, Bob will talk 20 minutes. So, Bob, that was very brief. Thank you. And thank you for the kind words. But to my friends and family here tonight, thank you. It means the world to me that all you kids and grandchildren are here, and the ones that couldn't make it. Also want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for voting me as part of this incredible 2024 class. And a special shout out to George Oakley, Margaret Simmons, and Tim Miller for making this moment possible. Seeing the long list of Hall of Famers, these are the ones that I know. It's quite an honor. Larry Tillman, Harvey Tanner. Harvey caught 87 passes in 1 year. And the career record was like 103. And Harvey decided not to come back the next year, but what a great player he was. Don Clayton, Rick Fisher, the eel, probably the best running back we've had. George Greenfield, Frank Head, Hal Howson. I've got some stories on him, but this is family rated here. And Doc Simmons. Doc was tremendous at what he did, and he made a lot of difference on how I grew up. And Johnny Reagan. You know, I wasn't a baseball player, Dave was, but what a class act he was. So in 1967, I graduated from St. X in Louisville, and all I wanted to do was play football. I didn't care where, how, or what. Dartmouth and Butler University offered me a partial scholarship, and I decided to come to Murray. I've never understood how my father let me do that, but in any case, it was the best decision I've ever made. Speaking of the teammates, this 67-68 team, which some of our players are here tonight, obviously. One of the people asked me today in an interview, what's the most memorable moment at Murray? And I said, well, unfortunately, it's the loss of Eastern Kentucky for the whole shebang. And we had a tremendous team that year, came up a little short, but in any case, that was my memory. We weren't the fastest, we weren't the biggest, we weren't the strongest, but what we lacked in physical gifts, we more than made up for with grit, determination, and a willingness to put in extra work. Whether it was watching film or putting in time after practice, it was that relentless work ethic instilled in us by Carl Oakley and our own will to win. That made us successful. We were all overachievers, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Everybody's been talking about the horse racing thing. I'd rather talk about football, but we hopefully we're on track to win our 8th and maybe 9th Eclipse Award next weekend with Citizen Bowl and National Treasure. For those of you who follow the Kentucky Derby or just love a good story, I invite you to keep up with Citizen Bowl, Getaway Car, Rodriguez, and Madacat Road. They may not run a 5.2 second 40 like me, but I promise they're worth watching on the trail to the Kentucky Derby. I'd also like to extend my thanks to Nico, our athletic director, also the equine program, Dr. Poor. We donated a horse named Zulu that my daughter named a number of years ago, and I'm always proud to be a racer, and if Zulu would say, if he could say, he would say, go racers. Thank you all very much.